Donald Trump has a message for the black community.
Now, what would TYT have to say about that?
Let's talk about it, y'all.
Middle America.
And you ain't black.
I don't know what I said.
The first time ever any...
What are you people?
We're Americans. We are Americans indeed. My name is Vincent.
I am Soraya.
And this is Middle America with Vin and Sori. We
Welcome.
have returned, dear listener. Yes, we have returned.
Here we are.
In all of our glory.
Back with Red Bull. Still with Ghosty.
Still with Ghosty to bring you the Middle America goodness, dear listener. Yes, we have returned. And look, I've been looking out the internet. I've been seeing a lot of these news programs. And they're failing miserably. You know, we had some really good people hit us up. They're like, Vin, the city needs you. It was like Batman. I said, I don't know. They said, no, seriously, bro, we need you. We need you in here. This is not going well. This is not going well. So I said, you know what? We got to come back and we got to come through for our people. So we have returned, dear listener. You can expect a steady and consistent diet of Middle America with Vin and Sori on, I think, close to a daily basis.
We're not right. We're not left.
That's right. I forgot our little intro. We're not left wing. We're not right wing. We're just right.
Bingo.
That's what we used to say.
That's what it is.
Shout out to the big homie Franz.
I knew somehow it landed with us being right.
Yes, right, right. All right, so Mr. Donald Trump made a statement, surprise, surprise, and it got controversial, surprise, surprise. I know you guys can't believe that Donald Trump would say something that would be construed as
hard to believe, I'm sure.
As hard to believe or as controversial, but here we are. This is the situation we're in, and it is, in fact, the truth. But we can't look at the thing ourselves. So no platinum this year. I don't know what platinum is. We can look at the thing ourselves and come to a conclusion. But why would we want to do that when we have TYT to help us? So TYT is here to help, as they say, and we are going to play a video. It's called "What Did Trump Say to Black Voters" by the good folks over at the Young Turks. Let's check it out here, guys. Let's check it out. Donald J. Trump back again. Let's do it. All right, here we go. Talk to the people while I get this thing out here.
Yeah, so we're about to check that out. And in the meantime, you guys, we can do a random Ask Me Anything. You can even ask us our political views in the midst of any of these.
Right, you're not supposed to talk about religion and politics, but like this is literally a political channel.
This is the spot where you can. You can get intrusive and you can ask us our political views on just about anything.
Yeah, and we'll answer it, I think, in a mostly truthful way. I think. Delaney in this bitch.
So.
Delaney in the house. All right, guys, here we go. Delaney's just in time to see Donald.
These lights are so bright in my eyes that I can't see.
In this bitch. Applejack.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah. All right. Let's put ourselves up here so we're a little bit above Trump so we can look down on him. Because that's what we're supposed to do, is look down on Trump. Shout out to the big homie Applejack. Applejack was a bad dude. What did he call himself? Corn Pop? Isn't that what he said? He said Corn Pop was a bad dude and all that shit. All right, guys, here we go. Shout out to Corn Pop. Shout out to Applejack. Remember his platinum plan for the black community? Yeah. What happened? He actually did have a platinum plan. Biden had a plan for the black community.
Is that
as well.
just like? Is this just like a weird pause, or did Trump change something about his face?
What do you mean a weird pause?
His face looks different, like he had some stuff done to it, or is it just the way that it got paused here?
No
idea.
You know, sweetheart, I don't know Donald Trump.
You don't?
I don't live around Donald Trump. I spend most of my time around you, actually. So I don't know why.
You haven't seen.
Sori will ask me these things about these people.
What do you guys think?
Why does he do that? And it's like, I'm supposed to give some sort of canonical sort of answer to that question. I have no freaking idea.
Cecil asked for the women to ask their husbands.
Gang. Shout out to
Is that
Hairshot.
what it is? He lost 30 pounds?
Yeah, he did. I thought he was saying that I lost 30 pounds. Trump lost 30 pounds. Okay. All right, guys, here we go. Let's see what Trump has to say. The lights are so bright.
Too many people out there, but I can only see the black ones. I can't see any white ones, you see? That's how far I've come.
There's so many lights out here. I can't see any white folks. I can only see black folks. That's how far I've come. SubhanAllah. Did you see the crowd? The crowd wasn't mad at him. See, this is one of the things that like white folks don't know about black people. Like, we have a sense of humor. It's funny. Like, it's okay.
Not all of you guys think it's funny.
Well, all the people in that crowd did. Like, this is Trump's superpower. Like, he knows how to relate to people. He knows how to get people to like him. We continue.
How far I've come. That's a long way, isn't it? We've all seen the mugshot. And you know who embraced it more than anybody else? The black population. It's incredible. You see black people walking around with my mugshot. You know, they do shirts and they sell them for $19 a piece. It's pretty amazing.
They're selling them for $19.
That's what happened.
It's so funny. Every show we go to, it's always
some black folks.
It's always your crew out there making money on the merch.
Yeah. You want to talk about capitalism? Listen, we were doing our own DIY street pharmacies and shit, and then the government came and screwed that up. You know, black people, like, we're all about the entrepreneurial spirit in this bitch.
Yeah.
You could see he thought about it for a second before he told the joke. Hell yeah. He's like, you know what? I'm going to do this shit. Let's see what happens.
Let's go in.
The indigenous survive because of our sense of humor. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, here we go.
That quote says, I laugh so I don't cry.
We continue.
All right. Well, on the eve of the South Carolina primary, and while speaking at the Black Conservative Federation Gala, Donald Trump made a direct appeal to black voters by comparing his own criminal indictments to decades of legal discrimination that black Americans have faced. Here's more of what he had to say.
Decades? She said decades.
She did, yeah.
Anna Kasparian, I understand that she's not born in the United States of America. She is Armenian. Like a System of a Down Armenian. Mm-hmm. But for the purposes of discussions relative to race, especially critical race theory, Anna Kasparian is a white woman. So one of the things that's really funny to me about TYT and liberals in general is that on the one hand, they're going to take up the offense for black people because we're supposed to be offended by what Trump just said. But on the other hand, they will paternalistically tell us how we feel about the situation. TYT has black hosts on their show. They got that preacher guy. They had the lady. None of these people's names anymore. They had JR. They had the black lady. They had lots of people. They had lots of black people that they could have had on. Now, I don't know what happened to all the black people on TYT, to be honest with you. A lot of these media companies... J.R. Jackson was one of them. Click on it. Let's see what he says. Indisputable was one of them. So they've got black people. He's got black people on the show that could have commented on this, but instead they decided to have Cenk the Turk and Anna the white woman take up the flag of offense for us.
Speak on your behalf.
Sean King. Yes. Here, Sean
Isn't
King.
That at its
That's
basis,
Talcum X.
Like when men go out and speak on women's issues, we're always trying to shut that down. We're like, you don't have a uterus, you can't talk.
Right.
So over here we have like
no uterus, no opinion. Although,
but I mean, not letting black people speak on this issue. I don't know. I haven't seen enough. Let's watch some more.
I'm not saying they're not letting. I'm just saying like it's curious to me that they would do this.
You made the choice to put seemingly white person. You know, I get it. She's from Armenia and he's from, but none of them were black.
Yeah, but she's
why not bring those people on?
Anna's a neoliberal. She claims to be a leftist, so she knows what I'm talking about. So I don't really know what's going on there. We continue.
Let's check it out.
I got indicted a second time and a third time and a fourth time, and a lot of people said that's why the black people like me, because they have been hurt so badly and discriminated against. And they actually viewed me as I'm being discriminated against.
Just FYI, the crowd that's cheering Trump right now is a crowd of black people. He was going to like a right-wing black dinner type of thing.
Okay.
So when he says, I can only see black people in the crowd sharing, these are all black people that are saying this.
Okay.
And all the crowd reaction is black people. I just want people to understand that.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure the neoliberals are about to get on their horses and be offended for me. I'm pretty sure that's about to happen. Wasn't the crowd mostly black and they laughed at his jokes, so what's the problem? Correct, Delaney. Correct. They did laugh at his jokes, but Anna Kasparian's going to explain to us why we should be offended. We continue.
So I will say that Trump has increased his support somewhat among black voters.
He has massive support among black voters.
After he said what he just said, I'm like, yeah,
But
I can see that.
Biden still has the lion's share of black support in America.
Biden has 50% of the polled black support in America. Democrats should be in the 70s and 80s. So this right here is just foo-foo. Trump is right. Black folks are absolutely more and more and more calling bullshit on this idea that Donald Trump is going to be horrible. It's going to be the end of the world for black people. We continue.
Now, do they support Trump increasingly because of his unfair criminal indictments? I would venture to say that's not the case.
How do you know?
I actually would say the opposite.
How do you know? Anna? How do you know how we feel about it?
Venture to say that if you actually speak to these voters, they're concerned about other things, including the economy, the migrant crisis. You just listen to them. But what's really interesting to me is that Trump has put himself in the same position as individuals who have been overly prosecuted, wrongfully convicted, whereas Donald Trump.
No, Trump didn't put himself in that position, Anna. You guys did. We sat, we sat through 4 years of bullshit Russiagate reporting, including your company, Anna. Now, I'll give props to Anna because Anna's the only one in that organization that will say I was wrong. She'll say she was wrong. Cenk, to this day, will not. Mm-hmm. But Anna at least will. Riggs says the moral hand-wringing over Trump's words do not work, in all caps. Did they not learn anything from the last 2 elections? I agree. But Trump's words here are not racist or offensive when they land on the ears of black people. At least this black person. I'll explain to you soon. We continue. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm just coming from somebody who's, I obviously lived and raised white, but then I came into this family and I see things differently now. So I can see there's a lot of unjust prosecution of black people. And that's been historically the issue. We still have people in jail right now for weed that now it's been legalized almost all over the place. So yeah, right. I mean, I think that there's been a lot of that. And once we saw what happened to Trump, if that's how it went and he just keeps getting indicted because people are trying to maneuver and do all these things, then obviously the black community would be like, we can understand that. That's happened to us. 100%. We've had shit planted in our stuff so that way you guys could throw us in jail. 100%. So no.
Guys.
I don't.
They spied on this man. They planted evidence on this dude. They indicted him. They harassed him. They went to the full extent of the law for something that all other presidents have done.
Yeah.
But they're acting like he's the only one that's ever done it.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that what currently is going on with Biden?
Of course there is a parallel. Of course.
100%.
And look, Rig, the moral hand-wringing that the left-wing Democrats, white liberals, whatever you want to call it, used about Trump was completely and totally negated when Mr. Biden made the "you ain't black" comment on our space, and none of the neoliberal white leftist pro-black, none of them took him to task for that shit. They all just looked the other way. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing that happened with Me Too. When homegirl went out there and said Biden did it to her, then that was the end of the Me Too movement. So this is par for the course, man. And that's why I keep saying the left, and I understand that Anna's probably been excised from the left because she had the audacity to say that, she wanted to be called something or not called something. But yeah, I mean, good night. This shit is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I look at news. Bush is a war criminal. Biden's a war criminal. Obama's a war criminal. He's right on all accounts. Correct. But Bush, Obama, and Trump has also committed war crimes, not to the degree as the other ones, but he was too busy with Russiagate to be able to take his place in committing as much war crimes as anybody else. But this is where we're at. So to pretend like, anyway, we continue. Come on, Anna. What do you got to say?
Has done bad things, and there's evidence proving that he's done these right things. He didn't have an equal footing with Black Americans. I mean, we're talking about a guy who grew up in the lap of luxury, then proceeded to $1 million from his father. It's a weird way of connecting to people, but we're.
Well, Anna, the problem is that you live in an environment where most Black people do not live, so you don't know how we think. When I was growing up, all the rappers, you know what all the rappers were saying about themselves? Do you know the aesthetic that they use? They use the Italian mafioso aesthetic. The Black community. Rappers. All through the night. Anybody that listened to hip hop during the era of Biggie and you all know this. The Commission, Jay-Z, all that stuff. In the Commission, you ask for permission to hit him. Black people admire any group of people who can work together and get to where they need to get to regardless of the law, because the law has been designed against us. So anybody that can find a way to make a life for themselves and their people outside of the law, when everything is against you, Black people admire.
That's right. That's interesting, because didn't Trump go out of his way to say something about his taxes?
Yes.
And then people were like horrified by it. But you're right. That would have, another group of people would have looked at that completely differently. Plus, I don't know, maybe this. I would think, okay, so like for me, like the environment that I came up in, I feel it was very misogynistic. So when I had met you, and you're a man that speaks against that and doesn't follow those, it like meant more to me in that sense. So if you've been raised in white America where, you know, you have to put laws in place for Black people to get even hired at some places, like that's crazy. So if that's the situation and you have a white person that's kind of like in this position, but they recognize that this is an issue and that there is some equality between like being unjustly gone after by the judicial system, then I can also see why maybe that's meaning for that. Maybe that's offensive to say that, but maybe it's also meaningful. What do you think?
No, I agree. And I think we just need to move beyond worrying about offending people. Like, I think it's one of the lessons I think Trump needs to teach our country is to say, what did you like? Or what was worse to you? Turning on TV and seeing a Twitter post from Trump that hurt somebody's feelings, or turning on your TV and seeing that Vladimir Putin just invaded Ukraine? And to this day, none of my left-wing friends will answer this question. Why did Vladimir Putin wait to invade Ukraine when you guys were telling me Trump was in his back pocket the entire time?
Valid question.
That motherfucker sat down and waited until he was sure that Trump was gone. And then a week or two after Biden was confirmed, he fucking invaded that country. That's a fact. That's just a fact. So, yeah, hell, if we're talking about who's more dangerous to who, yeah, we continue.
Gonna hear from a Black congressman, a Republican Black congressman, who defended Trump's statements. Before we do, what are your thoughts, Cenk?
We might have millions of people watching this show, but you can be the difference maker, because we just need 1% of our audience to be paid members, and then this show can be around forever. So you can make that difference.
Why are you not seeing any of these Black folks on TYT anymore? They're in a lot of trouble. They need some money. Shout out to Cenk. I'm not mad at you, Cenk, but that was kind of like, that's pretty desperate to put the commercial in the handoff. That was pretty smart. Let's go.
Click join now. So guys, I'm torn on it. On the one hand, it's obviously ridiculous and racist, and when he the one that
I don't think it's racist, and I don't think it's ridiculous, and neither do Black people, by the way. Thank you for speaking for us, Cenk.
I thought was the worst is what he keeps saying about, you know, when I got indicted and I got the mugshot, Black people.
Okay. Oh, I see what I need. Look at you as saying. Hold on. Let me go back. Let me go back again. Here's Cenk.
The one that I thought was the worst is what he keeps saying about, when I got indicted and I got the mugshot, black people love me.
Ugh, God.
Like you're assuming that black people are criminals and that they like criminals.
No.
And it's just, come on, man, come on. It doesn't get any more old school racist than that. Okay, you could.
No, that's not what they were saying. We're talking about a system that has unjustly gone after a particular group of people, and this group of people understands that. What are you talking about?
Cenk, first of all, Cenk, he did not say, hey, I got a mugshot and black people like me because them niggers are just criminals. That's not what he said. As a matter of fact, let's rewind and see what the man actually said and then compare it to what Cenk said. It's very, very important. What's up, Booyaka? I'm pretty sure she changed her name from the last time I saw Shorty, so don't be mad at me, sis. But let's play this again. Let's let Trump say what he said again, and then we'll go back.
By comparing his
The black population, it's incredible. You see black people walking around with my mugshot. They do shirts and they sell them for $19 a piece. It's pretty amazing.
Oof. All right. Well, on the eve of the South Carolina primary, and while speaking at the Black Conservative Federation Gala,
always hustling, boy.
Donald Trump made a direct appeal. So I will say that
Trump, that's not the one.
You know who embraced it more than anybody else? The black population. It's incredible. You see black people walking around with my mugshot. They do shirts and they sell them for $19 a piece. It's pretty amazing.
Huh?
Yeah, that little 10 seconds.
You see, that's how far I've come.
Oh, he said it was 2
That's how far I've come. That's a long way, isn't it? We've all seen the mugshot. And you know who embraced it more than anybody else? The black population. It's incredible. You see black people walking around with my mugshot. They do shirts and they sell them for $19. And a lot of people said that that's why the black people like me, because they have been hurt so badly and discriminated against. And they actually viewed me as I'm being discriminated against.
Okay. What he said was they have been so hurt by the legal system.
Yep.
Right? And they've been discriminated against. Cenk, he did not say black people like me because I'm a criminal and black people like criminals. He said.
We don't know where you got that idea, though, Cenk. We're starting to wonder.
The same thing that happened with Kyle Rittenhouse. I don't know if you guys remember this in an interview with Tucker Carlson. Kyle Rittenhouse said, I went to jail. I learned so much. And he said, he's like, what if I would have been one of these black guys? What would have happened to me?
That's right.
So when I shot that video, I said, LeBron James, you're a moron. Because LeBron was sitting there making fun of the kid for crying on the stand.
Yep.
Instead of saying, hey, you just said that, let's work on criminal justice together.
Yeah.
I'm black, I'm LeBron James, you're white, you're Kyle Rittenhouse, let's work together on reform.
Yeah.
We could have took that moment.
100%.
But black people are so emotional that we don't stop and think. It wasn't Rittenhouse didn't kill any of our folks. But you wanted this dude crucified because it was at the tail end of all the 2020 bullshit and everybody was angry. So we wanted a little white scalp to go and crucify because we all hate everybody. Like, we're not thinking strategically. Mm-hmm. He did not say that black people were embracing him because black people are criminals. What he said, Cenk, was that we have consistently been targeted and discriminated against by the government. That's the argument. And the fact of the matter is, the way that Trump has been treated, he has not been treated equally. Mm-hmm. Nobody believes that Donald Trump is the only person that took classified documents to his whatever. Nobody believes that. Nobody believes that Trump was the first person to lie. None of us believes that. The argument that Trump is making is that he was not treated fairly by the law, that people had it out for him because they literally said, we won't let him be the president. These people literally had a decision about who this man was and his relationship to said crime, even though there was no fucking crime, They created all these extra charges on him that he was not guilty of. And then the government at the deepest level sent Chuck Schumer to the Rachel Maddow show to say, you don't fuck with the CIA because they'll find a way to fuck you up 6 ways from Sunday. All of you people on the left that want to shepherd us all into the Biden thing, you want me to forget that. I'm not forgetting that. Trump did not say black people embrace me because I am a criminal. Mm-hmm. What he is saying is anybody with 2 eyes and a functional brain knows that this is the Democrats' attempt to get him to not be able to run because they know that Joe Biden cannot beat him. That's why this is happening. And we all know it. And we all knew it. That is what he said. So now, Cenk, you're distorting it. And you're trying to use my folks as a vehicle by which you can go and go after the president. I don't know about you, other black people, but I am sick and tired of these white politicians and their talking heads using our suffering to promote their fucking candidates.
Yep.
So fuck Cenk Uygur for that. He did not say that. And by the way, that is a crowd full of black people that are cheering. So if you say that that's what Trump was saying, then you're indicting those black people as people who support criminals. Cenk, good night. I'll tell you what, right, man, there's nothing more infuriating to me than this paternalistic white attitude.
Yeah.
I had, God bless him, but I had one of these guys, like right before Biden, got solidified for the nomination. They're like, you have black kids. Aren't you afraid of Trump with the police and blah, blah, blah? We continue.
Migrant crisis. You just listen to them. But what's really interesting to me is that Trump has put himself in the same position as individuals who have been overly prosecuted, wrong.
And again, Trump isn't doing that. Your political apparatus did that. Because anybody with a brain knows that this man was not treated fairly. Everybody with a brain knows that he went after people who were extremely powerful and they decided they were going to use a legal apparatus to fuck with him. Yep. Everybody knows that, Anna.
Yep. That's what the mugshot means to us.
Exactly.
Fully prosecuted, wrongfully convicted, whereas Donald Trump has done bad things and there's evidence proving that he's done these right things.
By the way, black people have never said we don't do wrong things. Black people have never said that in relation to the police. What we're saying is we are not treated equally.
Right.
When a black kid steals a candy bar and a white kid steals a candy bar, the white kid, I just got done listening to an interview. These 4 white dudes in a car, ossified fucking, they were so drunk that because they were going to butts. They were Navy SEALs, trying out for Navy SEALs. They were so fucked up off of whiskey that the next day they got pulled into the office. They were still smelling like whiskey. They were behind the wheel of a car. The cop said, what the fuck? Y'all going to jail. And the kid starts crying all this shit. And the cop says, it's okay. He ended up driving him to the fucking base. That's what we're talking about.
And heaven forbid you sell a Lucy cigarette. It's over for you.
Tamir Rice didn't even get the opportunity. Them boys jumped out of that car and put him up immediately. So this is what happens when neoliberals don't listen to black people. We're not saying that we don't commit crimes and the cops are just innocently throwing us in prison. What we're saying is, for example, in a stop and frisk type of situation in New York City, sure, you took a bunch of guns off the street and you also let a whole bunch of people go that had guns because they were white. You didn't go after them. That's the argument. And then when they get caught, they do not get sentenced the way we get sentenced. That's the argument. So what I'm saying about Trump is I'm sure he's guilty of about, 40 to 50% of whatever they're saying he's guilty of. But I'm also certain that all the other presidents were guilty the same way. But the apparatus did not go after Obama, Bush, Clinton, et cetera, the way they went after him. Mm-hmm. And that's obviously clearly the reason why we know is because he was never supposed to beat Hillary.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Have we ever had... This is the first time we've ever taken a mugshot of one of our presidents, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
And we're still delineating whether or not Biden had enough, mental capacities for him to make the mistakes that he made, because he has the stuff currently, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. Like, obviously, if they don't want to convict somebody, they're going to do what they can to move their way around it. But if they want to go after someone, they will.
Correct.
And that's what's happening.
Correct.
And that's what we all see that's happening.
Correct.
And that's why the black community is good with them, because they're like, okay. And you know what? He's done the most for the black community in regards to
Not even
unjust.
close.
Yeah.
Not even close.
He didn't have an equal.
All right.
And then this show can be around for. You could. I know your spin on it. Oh, they're the victims of injustice. Is that part of your regular stump speech about how black people in this country are being horribly mistreated? No, you actually say the opposite.
Right. I mean, he was.
Or maybe finally, we can now talk to our white friends and say, you see what they're doing to Trump?
Yep.
That's all we've been saying.
Yep.
We haven't been saying that we're completely innocent, pure as the driven snow. What we're saying is, if you look at us, because we believe in original sin, if you go after a group of teenagers and say, I'm going to look in every kid's pocket, you're going to find some shit. And what we've been saying is, why are you always looking in the black kid's pocket? And when you find something in the black kid's pocket, why does he get 30 years in prison? Mm-hmm. And the white kid gets a drive home. Or the white kid, after he gets done shooting 5-6 black people in a church, you take him to fucking McDonald's.
That's what I was thinking. You get him a burger.
Tamir Rice got a bunch of bullets for having a BB gun and harming no one.
Very concerned about the Central Park Five and how they were wrongfully convicted, right?
Oh, right. No, he wasn't. In fact, he wanted them murdered.
That shit happened 30, 40 years ago, bro. None of us care about that shit no more, bro.
Wanted them executed.
After they had been exonerated.
To be fair, the execution, he took a full page New York Times ad to execute.
It's so uncharitable for people to not think that maybe that he's expressing his empathy now, that he's been in a situation where he can see the other side. Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. Mm-hmm. But because we have dehumanized Trump and MAGA, we cannot allow for repentance or growth or change. He's got to be, and it's funny too, because he recognized it himself, because in the speech he said, that's how far I've come.
Yes.
That's an admission that his relationship with black people needs to grow. Mm-hmm. My relationship to women needed to grow. I was in a house with a single mother with rappers as my male role models. I'm not making excuses, but my understanding of how men and women should relate to each other had to grow. Some of you guys, Anna Kasparian, Cenk, you guys came out of the womb as perfect people. I did not. I have to grow. If you took a video of shit that I said 10 years ago, you wouldn't recognize me. Mm-hmm. LGBT stuff, trans stuff, women, blah, 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 blah. All of us are works in progress. Why can Trump not also be a work in progress? He's just one guy. Let me ask you a question, dear listener. Who has shown more growth relative to black people? It's not even close. It's not even close.
Did you think it was significant when he said, like, they feel like I've been, what was the word he used? He didn't say unjustly. He
said they were discriminated against. They've been hurt. He said they were hurt and they're discriminated against.
But he said they feel I've been discriminated against. Like, he wasn't even saying, like, I felt like that. I was wondering if maybe he was saying that to not, like, completely take it and be like, I too have been treated the way you guys are, because maybe he's coming into a deeper understanding of how it is, and he realized that even where he's at, even though it's giving him understanding as to where they are, like, it's never been that bad for him as it is. I mean, like, the black community had Trayvon Martin, like, all those situations, like, that stuff is crazy. That's what, like, when I see these, oh man, I stopped looking into it because it was just too upsetting. But when you hear these black mamas talking about their kids, I'm also in another forum where I get, tips because I don't share the same hair as my mixed kids. And like, when those moms come on there and they're like, my baby is this age now, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Like, and I'm telling you, the white community does not understand that. You don't understand what it's like when your boy goes from looking like a child to looking like a grown man now. And now you know that they can do something like that and that people can just completely go away with it like it never even happened and blame him for wearing a hoodie. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Are we saying with a straight face Trump is a friend of the black community? What do you mean by friend? Black community doesn't have any friends except for black people. The point of a politician is not to be our friend. The point of a politician is to get us laws that promote our well-being or not pass laws that detract from our well-being. That's the only function of a politician. I don't need him to be my friend. I don't need him to like me. As I've said a million times, Abraham Lincoln said some of the most racist shit ever. He said black people were ontologically inferior to white people. He said that in the struggle of the races, one race has to be superior to the other, and I, for one, want the white race to be superior, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you know what? I'd have voted for him 10 times out of 10. You know why? Because he had a better policy than the other guy for my folks. I'm probably never going to meet Donald Trump. I don't care how he feels about me or my son. I just care about laws and policies. As long as there's laws and policies that keep the cops and all the other shit out of my way, we're going to be more than good in our family. That's the function of the president. The function of the president is not to be my friend.
That's when they were charged and arrested. Okay. Later, when they were exonerated, he said, "Who cares? They probably did something anyway."
Who are we talking about? Who are we talking about?
He was talking about the Central Park Five. These 5 black kids that were accused of raping a white woman, and he wanted the death penalty and all the rest of it. So he's talking about shit that happened like 30, 40 years ago.
Right. Okay.
It's like it's to a specific group of people. This
is what you're saying. People change, people grow.
Look, that's his personal issue. What do you think, Jen, did more damage to my people? You think what do you think?
The crime bill?
You think Trump's op-ed, or do you think the crime bill was worse for black teenagers in the Central Park 5 situation?
But your boy still hasn't repudiated.
What do you think was worse? See, you liberals, man, you guys have no idea how offensive you are to thinking black people. We continue.
Horribly mistreated? No, you actually say the opposite.
Right. I mean, he was very concerned about the Central Park 5 and how they were wrongfully convicted, right?
Oh, right. No, he wasn't. In fact, he wanted them murdered. He wanted them executed.
After they had been exonerated.
To be fair, the execution, he took a full-page New York Times ad to execute them. That's when they.
Trump has essentially been exonerated for Russiagate. You guys are still walking around talking that dumbness. So just because somebody's exonerated doesn't mean people think that they're innocent. OJ got exonerated.
Were charged and arrested. Okay. Later, when they were exonerated, he said, "Who cares? They probably did something anyway." He's such a terrible person. He's like the worst guy in the world. And what the hell was that joke about the lights and black people?
Know.
I don't even understand it.
I don't know. Yeah.
So now, what the hell's the other?
Right. It's clear you don't understand it. It's clear, and you don't want to understand it, and that's why you guys keep losing. Honestly, that's why you guys keep losing.
Wait, I don't understand your response. I mean,
go ahead.
He literally doesn't understand the joke, or he disagrees.
He doesn't understand the whole thing because he doesn't understand black people and what we actually think.
I see.
He has a template for what neoliberals think about black people. But even the black people he's around are 1% rich black people. So he doesn't understand how black people think.
And then, so those are all awful, right? Yeah, but Biden has gone from 86% approval with African Americans down to 50%.
Thank you. What did I say?
Yep.
I said he's in the 50s. He should be in the 70s or 80s. He was at 86. You silly Negroes. You got these black people out here mad at Trump, and you went and voted for Crime Bill Biden.
Jeez.
Silly as hell.
And they asked him, didn't they ask him like,
they asked him on multiple occasions. Yeah, he's like, man, fuck you guys.
He will not turn away from it.
Nor should he. Stand on business, Biden. If these people are still dumb enough to vote for you, bro, I shouldn't say, astaghfirullah. If these people are deceived enough to vote for you, man, stand on business, Biden. Don't apologize to them Negroes putting all them boys in jail like that. Don't do that shit. Go for it, Biden. We continue.
Trump is gaining so much in popularity, right? As much as Biden is losing popularity among African Americans. And so now some percentage of African Americans are gravitating towards the Republican Party. You see it in the polling, not because they're like, oh great, the Republicans are criminals too, like us. No, you morons, that's not how they think, okay?
That's not how they think. Who's they? Black people? You moron, Cenk. He did not say black people love criminals. He says black people have hurt and been discriminated against by a legal system that has been targeting them, and now he is now in the crosshairs of that legal system, and he knows what it's like now. Yep. That's what he said. And when you characterize it as the other thing, you're not dissing Trump, you're dissing all the black people who went along and clapped when he said that shit. Cenk.
I'll do a quick side note on this too. There's some wealthy liberals who have the same assumptions. Oh, we're helping black people. How are you helping them? We let out a bunch of criminals.
You know what's funny to me? Is Anna should get this a lot quicker than Cenk. No disrespect, but I think Cenk is done for. I think he's game, set, match point, and that's his mind, and that's it. Anna seems to be in a real place where she's trying to figure out what she actually believes. Mm-hmm. Not TYT Anna, but what she actually believes. So Anna is a little bit more open to correction, but this shit right here is incredible. It's absolutely incredible to me.
Well, wait, what? That last piece.
What do you mean that last piece?
50%. So it's not that Trump is gaining so much in popularity, right? As much as Biden is losing popularity among African Americans. And so now...
No, he's gaining popularity. We're listening to Trench's News. Mm-hmm. Okay, you guys, I'm going to give you a freebie. If you want to know everything that happened in Chicago, I'm talking about all the gang shit, King Von, all the shootings and killings since 2012 on up. There's a YouTube channel by a dude who was literally in the middle of all that shit. Trench's News, go look at it. Trench's News was the one that broke the story to me about what's going on in Chicago and the migrant crisis. You're going to see it in a second. Shout out to Applejack with the Super Jack. Stop simping for Anna. She doesn't correct herself. No, she corrected herself on Russiagate. I'll show you the clip where she corrected herself on Russiagate. We continue. Hey, Mark, I see you, buddy. I see you. I think we're talking about different things, but I see you. I just wanted you to know that. Trench's News, the FBI informant. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not mad about that. That's got to change in our culture, bro. Honestly, these dudes went up and killed this man in broad daylight. Nah, you need to snitch. Tell on people. They killed your friend. Call the fucking police. Don't you go and get your gun and go shoot somebody. Yep. Ridiculous. Right. Now both you in jail, and now there's more black people dead. Congratulations. That's what they do.
What about justice in the courts or something instead of drilling?
Yeah, something like that. We continue.
Some percentage of African Americans are gravitating towards the Republican Party. You see it in the polling, not because they're like, oh great, the Republicans are criminals too, like us. No, you morons, that's not how they think, okay?
They. Why don't you ask the black guy in the MAGA cap what they think? He might have more of an understanding of what they think. You think? Like, why couldn't you guys you guys couldn't find a black MAGA person to interview and question about this?
And then, you know what? I'll do a quick side note on this too. There's some wealthy liberals who have the same assumptions. Oh, we're helping black people. How are you helping them? We let out a bunch of criminals. No, that is not helping black people, okay? So the question is, what were they put in jail for? Was it something unjust, like marijuana possession, or was it a serious crime that actually affects black communities more, you morons? So a lot of people share these kind of stereotypes that I can't stand. But in terms of actually appealing,
you are the one that brought up black people like Trump because of criminality. Trump literally said, they like me now because of the indictment due to the discrimination and the hurt that they've been through, which is a seismic moment in our history, if we could hold him to that. But we keep missing these major moments. When Rittenhouse said that on Tucker, we should have jumped on that. When Trump just said that, we should have jumped on that, because now we can go to the Trumpies and say, your man said it though.
Yep.
Your man said we got discriminated against. When has Joe Biden ever said the police force has been an instrument of discrimination against black? Tell me when.
That's right. Right.
He can't, because he wrote the crime bill. Okay, what's a lie? NAQ. Tell me what the lie. Tell me where the lie is, bro. Because everybody knows. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself. We continue.
American voters, get a load of this shocking idea, Democrats. Try doing something. So when you say, I'm going to pass voting rights, actually pass voting rights. When you say you're going to fight for higher wages, fight for higher wages.
That was Biden. And when you said you were going to do XYZ for black small businesses, where is it?
Right.
It's not
forgot
there.
about that.
It's not there. He gave X amount of money to the white governor, and then the white governor determines who gets the money. How do you know, Vin? Because I called them. We continue. That's a true story. Old J. You think Janet Mills wants to give me any money?
No.
You think Janet Mills wants to give me any money? Y'all are crazy. Y'all are crazy. Anybody get their 2K yet? Yeah. Yeah. That child tax credit. Where'd it go? Shout out to Biden. We continue.
I know, shocking. Since you didn't do any of that, that is why they're going, well, maybe they're Republicans, because we keep voting for the Democrats and we get almost nothing in return. So that's why they're finding a receptive audience, even in
Nah, bro, I got a crazy ass recession, massive inflation, and 2 wars, and a bunch of tragedies every day on my Facebook feed, bro. That's what I got with Biden.
Yeah.
Look, you could say, well, it's not his fault. All I'm saying is, during the Trump administration, I didn't have a Ukraine war. None of my friends in Gaza were getting murked. It cost $7 to get them 5 dozen eggs. What is it, like 14 now?
Mm-hmm. Unless you're in California, it was 29. That lady posted a picture. I don't know if that's the 60 eggs box.
He did not do the most for black people while in office. It went to my sis. What are you talking about? Did he file the First Step Act or not? Okay, and what has Obama done for the black community that's significant and material? What has Bush done and Clinton and Biden done for the black community that's significant and material? What are you talking about? Don't call people liars here, bro. Just disagree. I take the truth seriously, though. We continue.
this monster, at least some percentage are.
So I want to go to Congressman Byron Donalds, who
hey, I'm not gonna get into the particulars, and neither will you, Doug, because I'll boot you, because I love you. Anyone else notice Black History Month disappeared this year? To be fair, Israel has had their hands full this year. Yeah, there's no Black History Month today. Black History Month got canceled. Because we got friends over there that are massacring all these Semites over there in Gaza. Because you do know that the people being massacred in Gaza are also Semites. As a matter of fact, they're more Semitic. Help me, Lord. We continue.
Was on Meet the Press over the weekend and was asked to comment on Trump's statements. So Congressman Donalds invited Trump to speak before the Black conservative.
Whoa. Knack, the First Step Act has the Fair Sentencing Act, which is a Obama proposal. Why did the Fair Sentencing Act have to be included in the First Step Act? Wasn't it already enacted? Please listen to me. What I said was, tell me what material difference in the positive direction Mr. Obama did for Black people in 8 years. That's the question I asked you. We continue.
Federation Gala, and he definitely defended Trump. So let's take a look at what he had to say.
The president was really just enjoying himself. It was a great celebration for Black conservatives across our country. But let's be very clear. Our economy is a mess. Our border is completely unsecured. These things are...
Look, I'm worried about the border. I'm a pro-immigrant guy. That's only because of the Bible. But I'm going to be honest. With y'all. I have no fucking clue how to solve that problem, man. I have no idea. I know I want to solve it. I know I believe we should solve it. I have no idea how we're going to. Just letting you know.
Causes of major concerns for Black voters like it is for every voter in our...
Oh, I got to do that. Obama did nothing for Chicago. Correct! When that boy went up and shot T-Roy point blank range on camera, and you see that boy struggling for his life, that shit was on camera. Those cops had that shit for 3-4 years. Nothing was done. These kids were killing each other in broad fucking daylight in Chicago. And Rahm Emanuel and Barack Hussein Obama had nothing to fucking say. Then Trayvon got hit. Oh, Trayvon could have been my son. A lot of those folks could have been your son in Chicago, Mr. Obama.
Country. But then when you layer on the fact that, yes, this is political persecution from the Department of Justice and from radical DAs throughout our country, this is something similar that black people had to deal with the justice system themselves. And so...
Thank you. Thank you. That's what I said.
Right.
Me and this guy happen to be black. We happen to be black.
But Jank must know.
Jank will know, though.
And Anna.
Right.
Must know.
So the only black person they had on their show was a foil that they could stand up to disagree with.
Yeah.
But Trump's a racist.
Yep. Wow, that's crazy.
You know, I literally had to shoot a video for one of these non-racist white leftists when Biden said you ain't black. I literally had to shoot a video for this dude, Canadian guy, to explain to him why that was bad. Literally.
Oh my God.
Their look of it is real simple. Well, dang, if the government's going after him with foolishness, he can't be that bad, especially considering the fact that Joe Biden is terrible at his job.
Wait, but...
Yup. It's true. That's the logic. And y'all are going to see. I've been telling you guys this since even before the 2020 election, whatever it was. I told you guys. Black folks are done with this nonsense. Bless God. Bless God.
Hold on. I thought the radical DAs were letting people get away with murder. Like, I thought that was the criticism toward the radical DAs.
So now the problem is that they haven't let off enough criminals because
he did not see. This is a thing that gets me about neoliberals, and I'm trying my best to be charitable, but y'all do not fucking listen. Cenk is still stuck on his whole black people like, you're saying black people like criminals. No, Trump is denying any criminal activity. He's saying you're discriminating against me because of who I am. That's what we've been saying, Cenk. God almighty, stop it. Stop it.
Why won't they let off Trump? And by the way, it's not Trump's, at least in this speech, it's not like he's saying I didn't do it. He's just saying, hey, I'm a criminal like I think you guys are.
He never said that. He never said that. So now you want to insult the black community and say all those black people that were clapping with him, we don't know what the fuck we're talking about. And then this guy right here, the only black guy that you had to comment on the show, you're now disagreeing with him. But if he was on the show, he could have told you that that's not what he said. Yeah. But Cenk is so racist. Yeah. This is one of the things that gets me about left-wing racists. Like, they truly don't get it. They don't understand how unbelievably fucking racist they are. Mm-hmm. It's incredible. Mm-hmm. He is not allowing this black man to speak for himself.
Right. Which is 10 times more horrifying than the comment about the lights at the beginning. That they were completely bye.
Mm-hmm. I didn't vote for Jim Crow. You can't fuck with black people, bro. I didn't vote for Jim Crow Joe, and I'm not voting for Genocide Joe either. For me, I'm choosing Jill Stein. If I lived in a swing state, I'd vote for Trump. Correct. I don't know if I could ever bring myself. To vote for Trump. But if it's between Genocide Joe, hell yeah. If those were literally my only choices.
So is it true that you have to get a certain amount of votes, like basically on the middle or the independent, before that's actually going to be something actionable? Like, we're basically down to 2 parties. And you have to get a certain amount of votes for the other thing for it to even become valid.
It's really psychological warfare at the end of the day, like to have us believe that there are only 2 parties. And as long as people believe that there are only 2 legitimate parties, then we're always going to be in this situation. Yeah. Here's Cenk. Unbelievable.
And then they're applauding. Jesus Christ, man.
Right. This exactly. So he's telling you, this is what he thinks of black people. You get an entire crowd of black people clapping for a guy who says you want criminals. That is not what we did, Cenk. That's not what we did. But again, these people have never listened to black people. They just had a clip of a black guy and he completely and totally misquoted him. This is the reason that Biden is going to get washed in this next election. You guys do not fucking listen. And listen, I don't care if you're a left-wing racist. I don't care because my policy is the exact same thing. Get me policies that are going to help me keep the cops and all the other shit away from me. Let me live my life in peace. Let me build my businesses. Let me educate my children and stay out of our way while we take over the world. So if you're on the left and that's what you're on, great. But this shit right here.
Look, Donald Trump's on your side, baby.
Donald Trump's on. I'm glad this vid guy is coming around. He's very smart, very smart. I am, as they say, down with the struggle.
MAGA.
So
do you ever do that thing? I don't know if you do that, where you get to the bottom of the page and you're like, what the fuck did I just read? You have to restart over that thing. I felt like I did one of those when we listened to what was said and what Jank responded as. I thought I must have missed something here because I don't know how we got to this.
100%. 100%. Dwayne, I don't know if you know this or not, my man. We've never had a non-racist president except maybe Jimmy Carter. And he was probably the most impotent president we've ever had. So I don't know what you mean by saying that Trump is a racist. So, I don't care if he's a racist or not. We continue. What I care about is that racism bleeding into policies that affect my life and the life of my kids. That's the only kind of racism I care about. Any other racism, I don't care. I don't care. Black Wall Street was destroyed because black people would pose a threat. They were children of slaves and worked hard, so they were dangerous. Correct.
Yep.
In one generation, we were able to create millionaires out of slavery. Yeah, we continue.
How about we put the criminals that are actually criminals, did something bad, we put them in.
Knack, 1% of black people attend HBCUs. Okay? If you think that that's some sort of significant, that in 8 years, that's all Barack Hussein Obama could do. Listen, my son never went to an HBCU. He's out there right now. He's about to get a job with some, pretty important people. He never set foot in an HBCU. None of my kids are going to an HBCU. What does that have to do with us? That's 1% of our population, man. Your man Obama sat there for the vast majority of the war in Chicago, started around 2012. Your man Obama was the most powerful person on the planet and did literally nothing to stop all of that Black death. I don't want to hear it.
In jail. We can't get agreement on that. Well, from the Republicans or the Democrats at times.
I know,
it's
crazy.
Unbelievable.
It really is unbelievable. And by the way, I should note that it's not the radical DAs who decided to indict Donald Trump. The indictments came from grand juries in all 4 indictments. But with that said, I do want to go to more of.
Yeah? What about the grand jury that refused to indict the folks that choked Eric Garner to death?
Yep.
See, these kinds of responses are and again, look, Anna comes from a certain kind of a world. Mm-hmm. So to her, that is a very compelling argument. She's like, well, you got indicted by a grand jury. And black people have been saying, yeah. We've been getting indicted by grand juries. Yeah. Hello, the little 9-year-old kid that they electrocuted to death, Anna, he got indicted by a grand jury. This is what happens. White people don't listen. You guys do not listen. So she thinks, oh, he got indicted by a grand jury. So black people, oh, come on. I mean, you guys aren't getting indicted by grand juries.
What Representative Donalds had to say about Trump. Let's watch.
Oh my God.
Let me get you to respond to Biden campaign co-chair and former Congressman Cedric Richmond, who said this about his comments. Donald Trump claiming that black Americans will support him because of his criminal charges is insulting. It's moronic, and it's just plain racist.
Well, good. I agree. If Donald Trump said black Americans will support me because of my criminal charges, then yeah, I agree.
But
that's not what he said. What he said was they've been hurt and they've been discriminated against, and the context was the legal apparatus.
Right. That's why we have that guy's quote and not Donald Trump's quote. Because if Donald Trump said what they're saying he did, they'd just quote him directly, because that would be pretty damning. But that's not what he said.
Sadoct. Can I ask?
Go ahead. I'll allow you.
This is Applejack. Follow this dude on Twitter, by the way, Applejack the Smoker. Can I ask what grand jury indicted Mr. Bush for lying to us into a war and sanctioning torture? And what about the war crimes? Correct. But Trump is the one that got indicted? That makes black people say, well, wait a second. Mm-hmm. And by the way, this is not the first time. Applejack probably remembers this, but during the 90s, all of us were saying Bill Clinton was the first black president. Y'all don't remember that, do you? And the black comedians would get up there and be like, yeah, this nigga out, he out here, he's smoking weed, he getting hit at work, blah, blah, blah. He's one of us.
Oh my God.
Okay? Now, he was racist as hell. I mean, you want to talk about, guy was from fucking Arkansas. Okay? I mean, do the math. He's going to KKK, do his funerals, all types of shit. So, stop it. Stop it, guys. We continue. Oh, yeah, Bill Clinton had a sax, too. We continue. Yeah, shout out to Fannie Willis. Oh, jeez. See, guys, I'm sorry. This is a fucking clown show. This entire situation with Trump, it's a clown show. You do not get to find a politician that you cannot beat and then decide you're going to use the legal apparatus so that he cannot run for president. There are consequences to this kind of an action, guys. Shout out to Fannie Willis.
How do you respond to that charge that it's just plain racist?
What I would say is that Cedric is trying to play politics and use racial politics even now as we get into the general election. That's one. Number two, like I said at the top, the number one reason why minority voters in our country want to support Donald Trump is because he did the job of president. He did a great job as president. Our country was secure. The economy was great. These are all things that Donald Trump talked about Friday night. He also did talk about the indictment.
I am not sure that Trump deserved all the credit for the good economy we had, and that Biden deserves all the bad credit for the horrible situation we're in. But that's the situation we're in.
I was going to say,
whether or not it's fair, that's the situation we're in.
Yep. I noticed a decided difference when Biden got in.
Y'all are going to hell. Fannie had needs, and her 50th birthday was awful. SubhanAllah. That's a black DA.
Oh, I know who she
that
is.
hired the unqualified lawyer, and they went off and took all trips together on our dime. Shout out to Fannie Willis.
Oh, was that on her birthday? Is that why the 50th birthday came
Man, listen.
But what Americans don't.
She paid him back in cash.
She paid him back in cash.
She did.
Fannie Willis did it big for her 50th birthday on a taxpayer dime, and maybe also on the campaign side. You know it. What you mean maybe, sis? You know it. See, I miss Middle America, man. This crew is funny as hell, bro. This crew is funny as hell. We continue.
Want to see, especially black Americans and anybody else, they don't want to see a politicized Justice Department. They don't want to see a two-tier system of justice. They want justice to be followed. They want Lady Justice to be blind. That's what the American people want. That's what black voters want. That's what everybody wants.
So, Jake, I'm curious about your thoughts.
Wait, no, this cannot be right. This cannot be right.
He's joking. He's got to be joking.
She had a cat named Vagina. That cannot be right. That must be a quote from something. Tasco, where's that from? Tasco is like, him and Applejack are my Middle America buddies, man. What are you talking about, Tasco? I'll tell you what, I'm not a fan of Trump, but I bet you my paycheck lasted longer than Trump. Hell yeah. Listen, at the end of the day, man, black people are Americans. We're still capitalists, man. You see what I'm saying? Like, we need this money, bro. Why do you think, look, black people are the most capitalist people in this country. Black people go out in the corner of the street at fucking 2 a.m. in the dead of snow making that capitalism work. You could call it, oh, you're a drug dealer, blah, blah, blah. You're in prison, man. Drug dealing is a very involved business. Believe me. You got to scale it, all that shit. I'm talking about this from a person who's launched and scaled a couple businesses myself. I've never done that side of it. To be honest, I was too scared. But yeah, you really, really, really got to think when you're moving. We continue.
on some of the issues that he's brought up, because while I disagree.
Trump said she had a cat named Vagina during a speech. Oh, no. We cannot let this go.
I'm looking for it.
I cannot. No, I'm going to play the fucking clip. There's no way that Trump said that. This is our fucking president. He said she had a cat named What? That can't be real. I'm going to shoot
How do we find that? How do we find that?
I am going to. No way. Hold on, guys. We have a pause in Middle America. You didn't put up the thumbnail. We have a pause in Middle America, dear listener. Cat named Vagina. This cannot be right.
That's so weird, dude.
Trump has hilarious viral.
Yeah, babe, I'm not seeing it here. That's why I didn't put it up, and it's still not there.
Okay, don't worry about it. Trump's. Hold on, guys.
I mean, doesn't Doug has your number? And doesn't Applejack? You guys send him the friggin' link.
No, I've got the link right here.
Oh no!
I've got the link.
Oh, this is so embarrassing. Why would you do that?
What? Trump?
No, her. Why would
No.
you take a cat and name it that? That's so
Come
weird,
on,
dude.
you don't really think that she did that. He said that. That doesn't mean she actually.
Oh, how would you know? Some people think stuff is like oddly sexy. There's my cat.
It is very nasty. Poor cat. I gotta see this shit for myself. You got a cat named China Trump. What are you doing? We continue.
I agree with the statements coming from Donald Trump, and I disagree with Donald's providing cover for Trump's statements. Donald's did mention a few issues where if you actually take the time to listen to black voters and what they're concerned about.
Look, people are saying she really did, babe. You're mocking me?
If you took the time to listen to black voters.
How embarrassing.
Fucking ironic.
I missed that. They busy in the comments section.
Do mention some of those issues, including immigration, including the economy.
Yeah.
I will say though, when Donald says, oh, well, they saw the kind of job that Donald Trump did and they liked the work that he did. And okay, well then why didn't they reelect him in 2020?
Because black people are silly. And we went out and voted for Joe Biden over there in the Carolinas when we had a real shot at Bernie Sanders. That's why. This is not very difficult to understand. And you guys, because of the political environment we're in that you guys created, you guys weren't even able to call out black people for their lack of participation in 2016 and 2020, and you never will. Because you guys don't realize that calling us out for that would be treating us as equals. See, Anna and all the rest of the TYT people, they went after white women over and over again because of the Trump situation. They didn't say none to black people because they don't treat us as equals. Oh. That's the irony. So she doesn't realize that this entire segment is infinitely more offensive than if a Democrat were to say, you black people can't complain nothing about Trump, y'all don't vote. Because it's true. Or you could say, you black people can't say nothing about Trump. You can't say nothing about the situation here. You dummies, you voted for Biden. And it would be true. And this time, black people are saying, we started figuring this shit out. We continue.
So that's a ridiculous statement to make. However, I mean, I've shared videos with you from these town halls in cities like Chicago where black voter after black voter gets up and they're enraged about the migrant crisis, for instance.
Yeah. So I forget exactly what number Trump.
They're enraged, correct. Do you know when I first heard? Man. Do you know when I first heard, dear listener, about the migrant crisis relative to Chicago?
It's bad.
I did not hear it from TYT. I didn't hear it from The Hill. I didn't hear it from none of them shows. Do you know where I heard about the migrant crisis in Chicago? Where you got people on waiting lists for housing and then in come all these wonderful Mexicans. And these Mexicans immediately get housing. And keep in mind, these Mexicans, these beautiful people came from a land of poverty. And if you come from a land of poverty, you're most likely going to be violent because poverty begets violence, okay? Which means now you've got a group of people in Chicago who have been bumped to the front of the line, who came from a very austere environment in which they had to be violent to survive. And now you put them in the middle of Chicago and you bump all those people ahead of the black people that have been waiting. Bro. And then on top of that, these dudes out here gangbanging. I heard about all this stuff relative to Chicago from fucking Trenches News. And you guys don't, Applejack knows who Trench's News is, but Trench's is like a straight up, Chicago. He wasn't really a gangster. He was more of a thief. He'd go rob you and shit. That was his thing. He wasn't a gangster. He wasn't a shooter. He wasn't a killer. But he was in the middle of all of that shit when that big war was happening. He was the one that told me about that shit. I said, Biden is finished. I went up on the Middle America page, facebook.com/America Middle. I said, Biden is done. You got dudes from the hood talking about this shit. It's over with. It's over with. We continue.
Got in the 2020 election, but it was in the ballpark of 10% from African Americans. I think it might have been 9 or something along those lines. So Donald's is just making it up when he says, oh yeah, they really liked him in his last term. No, they didn't. That's just not true. But when you talk to Democrats and you say, hey, crime might be a real problem.
Cenk, that's not the point. Nobody has to like the president. What has happened is you guys exaggerated everything this man did and turned it into the harbinger of World War III or a new Nazi regime or whatever. You guys used all this hyperbolic language and none of that shit materialized. So people said, oh, well then maybe you guys were lying about everything else. That's what happened, Cenk. Because then after that, we got a president that doesn't talk to us at all. Now, I'm not going to say why Mr. Biden won't talk to us. You guys, I'm not a professional. I'm not a medical professional. And the Bible says you're not supposed to speak evil of a rule of your people. And for whatever reason, God put Joe Biden in office. So I'm not going to speak evil of him. All I'll say is our last president was a lot more communicative to us than this one. And what happened is people said, well, yeah, but there's no bad tweets, but there's a giant war in Ukraine now. And we're sending hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine in the middle of a fucking inflation bonanza.
Ridiculous.
That's what happened. What happens is the present at times rewrites the past. You have a certain idea. I was conditioned to have a certain idea about this man. So I had that idea. And then I had confirmation bias. Every time he said something reckless on Twitter, Don Lemon and the rest of those guys would blow it up. But then the next guy showed up. And you say, wait a second, he's not doing any bad tweets, but my life is a fucking disaster. I think these people were lying to me about the other guy. Maybe they were lying to me about the other guy so that I could vote for them so that they could stay in power. Could that be the issue?
That?
You don't need to like Trump in 2020 in order to vote for him for 2024. Oh, God.
Problem, and a lot of minorities in the cities are really worried / pissed about it, right? They go, no, they're not. Okay, and then you say immigration, because they did the busing to the big cities, that's also creating a lot of conflict. It's even creating some racial conflict between blacks and Latinos in places like Chicago and in other cities.
Yeah, go Google it. Latin King just got killed. Yeah, shout out to Joe Biden. But this is how white liberals think. Well, there's the brown people. We're not going to send them to our little lily white suburban neighborhood. I mean, come on, let's be reasonable here. Send them to their fellow black people. There's no conflict between GDs, BDs, and Latin King. No. We got along completely fine with the Nietas over there when we were in the Bronx over there. Completely fine with the Nietas. We continue.
They're like, no, it's not. Oh. Okay, so both sides are totally denying reality.
Yeah, they are. It's scary, really.
And so were you. And you just insulted that entire crowd of black people cheering for criminality because we all love criminality. Oh my gosh. Dummy.
It doesn't help you to
I shouldn't have said that.
Deny reality. But the only reason you would deny reality is because if you think, well, I know I'm not going to solve the actual problem. I don't want to solve the actual problem. So I'll pretend it doesn't exist. Because if you wanted to solve the actual immigration problem, both Republicans and Democrats, you wouldn't do any of this. You would do a pathway to citizenship. You'd probably do.
I don't know how the pathway to citizenship is going to solve this problem, man. Becoming a citizen is a very involved thing. I'm a much closer to Cenk and Anna's heart on the immigration thing than the right, for sure. I just don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know how we're going to do it. I mean, to me, it's almost like the only thing I can think of. It's almost like the gun thing. I don't know how we're gonna, a gun ban is not gonna work in America. And so to me, it's like, okay, well, maybe you go to the root of why people are doing this, and it's a mental health issue. The Republicans are the ones that keep saying that these active shooter situations are mental health issues. Then socialize mental health at least.
Right, yeah.
So the only thing I can think of is to say the only thing that I can really think of, but we've got too much money involved in it, is if we sent DEFGRU and combat applications down there and said, just kill everybody in the cartel, just kill them all, we could do that in about 4 or 5 weeks. Easily. But we're not going to do that because we got a lot of money wrapped up into that cartel shit.
Oh my God.
Among other things that the cartel does for us. So it's a very, 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 very tough thing to solve. I have no idea what it is. I have the heart for it, for sure. I've got the theology for it, for sure. But the practical way of doing this for millions of people, I have no freaking clue. I think this is one of those things where the Republicans have a really strong advantage because we cannot come up with an alternative for them. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of the reasons they do these stunts, right? They'll bus all the immigrants into like a blue state, and they'll say, okay, you guys figure it out. Since you guys are saying all this shit, you guys figure it out. And both sides are using these people as pawns. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Marshall Plan for Latin America, but you would then actually say, hey, once we do a pathway to citizenship, sorry, but you can't come in. If you do, we're going to return you. We're going to have a very quick asylum process. That you would do a comprehensive plan to actually address the problem. Instead, what are we doing? The Democrats don't have a comprehensive plan. They're coming in through the border. They're doing catch and release. And then the Republicans are saying, okay, let's send them to Chicago, New York, San Francisco, etc. And then they're sitting there, hundreds of thousands of people. They can't get a job.
Catch and release?
Because they don't have papers. What do you think they're gonna do? They're gonna.
Well, what about that?
Well, I mean, that's what we use when you go fishing. You got to catch and release. Like, we're talking about human beings here. What is this process of catch and release?
Well, you cross the border and then they basically, let you go.
In America?
Right. You're supposed to prostitute and stuff. I think the tall white lady came up with that term. And she doesn't humanize Mexicans very. I forgot what her name was. Yeah, like fish, Ian, correct.
Get desperate. Some are actually from gangs. Others are going to get desperate and poor, etc.
Yeah.
And it's going to create a giant problem. And then when we go to fund that problem, because we have to, then communities, and I've seen it with my own eyes in the town halls. They come and they go, wait, how come we've been sitting here in Chicago all this time, never got any funding? Now all of a sudden they're getting funding.
Can I give you a specific example? And I thought that this was a big mistake by the Democratic Party.
By the way, Chicago, black people in Chicago, these white liberals don't care about those Mexicans either. They're just using those Mexicans as a political tool. So if you're Mexican or Latino or whatever, don't get it twisted that these people actually care about you. If they cared about you, they'd be bringing you into their neighborhoods. Right? They're not. They're sending you to ours.
In one of these Republican debates that we covered here at TYT, the candidates brought up the issue of the migrant crisis in New York specifically. And I don't remember which candidate it was. It might have been DeSantis. But one of them brought up the fact that students in the public schools during a rainstorm were forced to work remotely or take class remotely so they could use the campus as a shelter for migrants. And so what I heard from mainstream Democrats in regard to that issue is, what's the big deal? There was a storm, we need to shelter migrants. But guys, you also have to understand what that communicates to the taxpayers in that community whose property taxes fund the school.
Yeah, but hold on a second.
I want to talk about what Anna's saying, but I do want to talk about what Doug is saying, because this is something that I know personally for a fact. They let you go with a court date in 7 years. They release children to people they don't vet within the country, facilitating child trafficking. This is a fact. This is a fact. Little Pedro shows up with Jose, says, oh, that's my dad. How do you know that's his dad? The cartel has a massive human trafficking operation, men, women, children. How do you know? So I have contacts in the federal government, whatever. So I said, hey, because this is when AOC was doing the whole abolish ICE thing. I said, hey, tell me about ICE, what's going on? And so he starts listing off these horror stories of what's going on with these kids, man. And he said a lot of these dudes in ICE are Hispanic. there's a bias. ICE is basically Border Patrol.
Yeah, I remember.
There is a bias toward actually hiring Hispanics. Why? Answer: language barrier.
Oh, I thought it was.
So
like
you want somebody
the preachers
who's a native language speaker to be the guy that talks to these people. So he's like, listen, first of all, the vast majority of ICE people are Latino who are immigrants or children of the second generation. He said, secondly, how do you propose we protect Pedro from John? Pedro's got people over there in Tijuana right now looking for him. Now, there he is on the border, and here comes neoliberal AOC. Get out of the way, ICE person. Let Pedro and John through. And then she gets to cry, talk about all the opportunities that Pedro and John are not going to have. Yeah, John is taking Pedro, or Juan, is taking Pedro down the fucking street where he can be sold forever. This shit is not as simple as everybody's trying to make it. That border shit is really crazy. It's a crisis. It's difficult. And anybody telling you
jeez.
That this is some easy thing and this is just happening because, Trump hates immigrants and all the rest of it. Please think.
Who, by the way, they've got to work. So the idea, it's not a big deal. Their kids can just do remote learning during the storm. No,
pause. So what's the issue here? Because
there was a storm.
Yeah.
And there were migrants there, and they didn't have any more spaces for these migrants. So they used this school.
Okay.
So the black kids were told, you're not doing school today because all these migrants are going to be in your school. So there was a problem with that because it's like, why are we, now we can't educate our kids to facilitate these people? When is this going to stop? So that was a problem that people were having with it. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, first of all, because we're talking Chicago, so it is a black community. I mean, I got to say, if this was, I understand the angle that you're talking about, but if this was a white community and they did the same thing, I really wouldn't care. I mean, these people, what were they, if they didn't have another place for these people to go, what are they supposed to do? Just stand out in the storm?
You would care, the white folks would care if they were getting housing and all the other shit. These are not separate issues. Both of those situations happened in Chicago. So you had people on waiting lists who got bumped by these Mexicans. Okay. And now you're saying that your kids can't even go to school. So it's a symbolic, metaphorical, you're a second-class citizen to these people. That's the problem. And these people are saying, what are you talking about? I'm a tax-paying American. We were born here. Yeah. Why are these people getting prioritized above us? So now these liberals have given Trump a America First that works with black people.
Yeah.
Because now,
yeah,
go listen to Trenches News. Now he's using America First language. Yeah. We continue.
A major inconvenience that is going to rile them up and get them really angry. And I understand.
Here it is. I have yet to see a white school having their kids with no notice sent home from school to house anyone. All hell would break loose. Come on, man. You saw what happened in Michigan. When them white people were told to stay inside because of COVID, they showed up, they were strapped up. That white lady was scared to death in her little... And you know what Trump did? Trump was like, hey, you need to make a deal with them folks. Shit is incredible. We continue.
Especially when you're saying those people are paying taxes. They're not even reaping the benefits of their tax money. And on top of that, the school system is paid by their taxes. And so I mean, I can see that. I don't want anybody to be out in a storm, but I do understand I do understand there's a lot more going on than just people in a storm.
And to David's point, shout out to David Forrester. Never seen you here before, buddy. Thanks for contributing. COVID showed remote learning hurts students. Correct. Mm-hmm. He's 100% right. And the issue is now that door is open. How many times is this going to happen to these kids?
Right.
And that anger, you have to find a better solution than to just say, what's the big deal? There's a storm, we need to shelter migrants.
Look, honestly, I think the wealthy, all the people in power are anywhere from wealthy to super wealthy. I don't think they have.
Like you? You do realize if you're a millionaire, you're super wealthy. If you're an American, relative to the world, you're already wealthy. But if you're a millionaire, you are among the uber super wealthy. A millionaire in America is living a much more lavish lifestyle than Julius Caesar. We continue.
Any interaction with real people.
They don't.
Like literally none.
They don't. They don't understand.
Neither do you. It's clear you don't interact with black people, Anna. Now, shout out to Anna. The black leftists have been really, really mean to her. Brianna Joy Gray, who takes a lot of abuse from men, went after Anna, which I thought was very curious. So yeah, Anna's not doing very well with the black leftist community.
She didn't look like she was. I mean, I don't really remember it. I just remember thinking she looked like overly emotional for the topic that she was talking about when she went after Anna. So I felt like it was more than just what she was talking about. But I don't remember the whole situation.
Yeah.
Understand what a big problem that is when you are you have to work, and now all of a sudden you can't go to work because your kids can't go to school because they have to do remote learning. That is a huge inconvenience.
So we've talked about the Democrats. I think they're totally out of touch, and they keep.
And the other side of this is that if this keeps happening, one of the things that ended up happening in up in Maine, where we are, is during that period, we had these little mini gangs start to form around the neighborhood.
Oh yeah, we did.
And
it became a problem.
And
they weren't that little. There was a big crew.
When they went after the gay kid, and then Dorian had to go in there and say, "Hey, leave him alone."
I forgot about that.
And the kid gave Dorian the bracelet and all that. Yeah. Why is that? Well, when you get a bunch of young men together and they got nothing to do, they're going to end up doing bad shit. It's called idle hands. It's the devil's play shop. Doesn't matter black, white, red, orange, Latino, gay, straight, whatever. You get a bunch of young men, young boys together and give them nothing to do. They're gonna do some shit. Okay? And we don't need that in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. I think also, though, that parents are taught that they can't educate their own kids. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of pressure and a lot of fear that goes in there, and nobody wants to ruin their kids' education. And so I think that that's also another thing. Like, there's way too much reliance on other people to teach the kids. And then I agree. I see what you guys are saying, where they're taking over the school. There's a lot that's going on with this stuff, and it has a lot of implications for people. But on the same note, like, I don't think a child's education from certainly the public school system is going to be derailed after 3 days of being gone from a storm. That's not going to happen. Their education is in a situation because of the public school system before that even happens. But because the public school system has a goal with these kids.
He has to rely on the Electoral College only. So I never understood the complaining about the Electoral College thing. Like, you guys know the rules. Those are the rules. Okay? And no, I don't believe that if we were doing the popular vote that Trump would lose. He would just campaign more in states like California and New York. And he'd still win. Joe Biden is massively unpopular, and for good reason.
I just feel like that Donald Trump is going to win by a landslide. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I don't
Unless
really
they shoot him, there's no way he's going to lose. Now, I'm saying that. I also said there was no way Biden was going to win last time, so we got to...
That did surprise me.
We got to pause. We got to pause. But I just don't see a path to victory. Let me say it that way. We continue. Good. Yeah, get your kids out of Chicago if you're in Chicago, man. Holy hell.
Mm-hmm. If you can do that, do it.
Do it.
Talking about black people like as if they're like they can't ask a black person. Like they can't go and attend the town halls. They can't see the poll.
He was at a meeting with black people who invited him. You're the one who would not talk to a single black person when you're commenting about black issues on your show that was named after a genocide. What are you... The lack of self-awareness is so crazy to me.
Oh my gosh.
This is crazy to me. Man. Holy hell, we continue.
You should educate yourself.
They can't, etc., right? They talk about them in this theoretical language that doesn't actually affect their real lives and take into account their real lives. On the other hand, you look at Trump, I mean, he's just such a mess. So in the midst of that same speech, he keeps talking about, I hear, and you saw a part of it there, I hear black people love the shirt that I did. You know why he hears?
Whoa. He didn't say they love the shirt that I did.
Is that what he said? I couldn't understand his
words. He said they
words.
loved his mugshot and put it on a shirt and started selling it.
Yeah.
Which I'm so proud of my people for that. I can't tell you how proud I am of my people for that. Here's Knack. Black conservatives. Well, so, Knack, do black conservatives count? Or only real black people, the people that vote for Joe Biden? and his Confederate flag waving ass who didn't want a fucking, what is it, racial jungle he didn't want? Knack, I don't understand your logic, bro. I don't get it. I'm trying to understand it. I just don't get it.
Remember back, this is at the beginning of Trump's, I don't even think he was president yet. Well, no, maybe. He was talking about Biden's kid. Oh, my word, his name's not Forrest. What's his kid's name? What's his name?
Hunter.
Where's Hunter? That Forrest?
The Where's Hunter shirt. That's right.
Yes,
That's
and Trump brought it up that people should go make a Where's Hunter shirt.
Yeah.
So, obviously,
we
Trump
did.
has it in his back pocket that, people should make T-shirts and sell them and make money.
He's a capitalist.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what he can relate to. But
so when he brings it up, he's, giving them, props for that. You did this.
Tasco hit the nail. See, this is why I talk to this dude on a daily basis. Look at the analytical. Trump makes Cenk crazy because Cenk is very Trumpian himself. Correct.
Oh.
Correct. Cenk, and listen, here's what I will say about this meeting that Trump had. He was completely coherent. All of his sentences had a beginning, middle, and end point. And every next sentence followed from the previous sentence without any breaks.
People are going to think we froze.
We continue.
As if they're they can't ask a black person. They can't go and attend the town halls. They can't see the polling. They can't, etc. Right? They talk about them in this theoretical language that doesn't actually affect their real lives and take into account their real lives. On the other hand, you look at Trump. I mean, he's just such a mess. So in the midst of that same speech, he keeps talking about, I hear, and you saw a part of it there, I hear black people love this shirt that I did. You know why he hears black people do this or that? Because he doesn't have any black friends. He doesn't know anyone black. He can't even.
He doesn't know anybody black. Tim Scott is literally second. They're speculating who's his VP is going to be. It's between Vivek, the Indian guy, okay, Ramaswamy, the Hindu dude, and this dude named Tim Scott. Vivek and Tim are both darker than me.
Well,
he doesn't know any black people.
The other thing, too, is when you don't really know any black people, you make a joke like you ain't black. Because I think Biden was trying to be edgy and make a joke like that, but he was way too comfortable.
He wasn't trying to be edgy. That's what he believes.
Yeah, but he was also wasn't he trying to make sort of you ain't black, he goes in that language.
Yeah.
Okay, but when Trump comes in and he makes the joke about the lights, for me, when I heard him say that, I was like, oh, he must have friends. Because he understood where it was okay to make that joke. And the audience,
that's a dangerous, but we make fun of each other like that. Shout out to Sori, that nigga's so dark, bro, you can only see him when he smiles at night. All type of shit.
Given the environment and how easy it is to offend certain groups of people, I would think because he said that he must have black friends.
Trump had black people in his cabinet last time, has them in his campaign now. All that and black friend needs to stop being a measure of anything anyway. Correct.
I mean, look at what Biden did to Kamala. I understand she made decisions herself, but you said, her career is over. That's done. She went out. The only thing that I remember stuff that's embarrassing. When she went out there and she was telling those people, come over. I'm not going to be able to give you word for word. She was basically telling those people, come on over.
Yeah, America's
and then
the land
she
of
got
opportunity.
in and she had to traipse herself over there and say, don't come. Don't come. That embarrassed me. I was like, yo,
this is a
she
message.
should have said, I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
I'm not doing that.
yeah,
Bro, I already went out there and said what I said.
Yeah.
Send somebody else.
He used Shorty as a human shield. Immediately he sent that little black lady to go do his work for him. I'm not mad at him for that. Go ahead. You want to be dumb enough to go put astaghfirullah, I should say. God forgive me. We continue.
She did a lot of stuff to get to that position.
Yeah, what are you doing, man? That's
elbowing
really fucked up my elbow. Dude.
Oh no, really?
Hurt it in the game.
Oh, I'm
killing
sorry.
me. We continue.
Say, hey, I was talking to Bob the other day.
Oh yeah. Charlemagne let Biden get away with it. Hell yeah. I lost all respect for Charlemagne after that. Now, if I saw him, I would tell him to his face, bro. You a hoe.
Yeah.
You a straight hoe. How you let this white dude get up in your space and do that shit to you like that, bro?
Great. He could have had a moment, too. That thing would have gone on loop.
Viral. Of course. Of course.
Yep.
But to your point, why is that dude so comfortable?
That's what I'm saying.
I promise you, Biden would be comfortable saying that if I was doing an interview. That's called access journalism, dear listener. We continue.
He told me, look, I'm connecting to you because of the injustice that happened in the black community, etc. He can't even do one anecdote, right? Because he doesn't know a single black person.
This is one of these things. He doesn't know a single black person. Literally, Tim Scott is a finalist for, I've already said this. But this is so fascinating. Because, dear listener, I'm going to let you guys finish this. What would have happened if Trump would have said, I have a black friend, and he said this was funny? What would TYT have said? Would they say, oh, okay, then he's not a racist. This entire time I've been calling her. No, they would say, oh, you have the one black friend? That's what all the racists say. So, like, literally, there's nothing that Trump could have said otherwise where these guys wouldn't have had a problem.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
They love my mugshot.
Yeah, and so the only black people he has.
Yeah, well, which false god was that? There's a lot of false gods he told me not to trust. The biggest one was, what's that girl? AOC? Shout out to AOC with her sellout ass. We continue.
Around him are a bunch of ass kissers.
Odds that Trump has more black friends than Cenk are 100%, bro. It's not even close. It's not even close. Look, I had a friend who did security for Trump 2019. And he said he was the greatest guy, down to earth, talk to you, ask you questions, all type of shit. And this is a friend that I said was blacker than anything. Sharif is blacker than his shirt. And he was doing security for Trump. And Sharif was doing all that jujitsu shit in the 90s. Everybody, late to the party and shit. But like, I guarantee you that Trump has more black friends than Trump. It's not even a joke.
It's like Donalds and Ben Carson, and they're all groveling to him like Tim Scott. And at the end, he says about Tim Scott in this.
Oh, so the only black people who support Trump and disagree with you are people who grovel. Black people groveling at the feet of a white man. What's that? Oh, so slaves. So the only people that support Trump and disagree with you who are black are slaves.
Dude. Wow.
I'm not mad at Cenk. I am not mad at Cenk. I want my racists to come out and tell us what they think. Tell me what you think of me and my folks. I want to know. So thank you, Cenk, for letting us know what you and Anna think of black people. We continue. Now, I understand why Anna would have a little subliminal axe of grime with black people, considering the way we treated her on Twitter. It's been unfair. I'm not going to lie to you. People are unfair to Anna on Twitter. But yeah, we continue.
He's like, I like Tim Scott because he doesn't.
Where have these people been? I need to be on. We need to do Middle America every fucking day. After watching Trump try to save Herschel Walker's silly ass, it should be clear that man is his black friend. Only a real pal would try to help a man that messy make it into politics. Exactly. There's a whole host of black people that Trump should have got. But when Herschel Walker's a big-time football player. He's getting all them 1,000-yard season. Him and Trump was out in the back with Shorty. You know that. We continue. I will black AOC as long as she stays pretty.
Oh
well, I got this to look at every day. So AOC, we continue.
Talk much about himself. He talks a lot about me.
Oh my God.
And that's exactly the kind of black person that Donald Trump likes.
Whoa!
Someone who's servile.
Whoa!
And he could use for his own purpose.
Whoa!
I'm sorry,
So I hope
gotta stop doing that, bro.
I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ. By the way, he now probably is leading.
You just
an
said
ass
that.
kissers like Donalds and Ben Carson. And they're all groveling to him like Tim Scott. And at the end, he says about Tim Scott in this. He's like, I like Tim Scott because he doesn't talk much about himself. He talks a lot about me.
Oh my God.
And that's exactly the kind of black person that Donald Trump likes. Someone who's servile and he could use for his own purposes. So I hope you're proud, Tim Scott.
Oh, that's the kind of black. So all those black people that were cheering for dude in the crowd, they're also servile slaves too. The only black people that think freely are people that agree with you. Hey, I can't believe he really just said that. In those words, the racism is really racing over on the Turks today. Holy hell. Holy
Jeez.
Ian, pretty disappointed to have you talk about AOC that way. That's not good, bro. She's a human being created in the image of God, and she's accomplished some amazing shit. Whether or not we agree with her, I think she deserves some respect.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
Jesus Christ. By the way, he now probably is leading in the VP stakes if Trump thinks he doesn't talk about himself, only praises Trump.
100%.
Oh, Trump loves that. I'll be able to trick people pretending that I'm in favor of black people by having...
I'll be able to trick you gullible black people. This guy is the Antichrist. He's Hitler all wrapped in. He's Nikolai Carpathia, all of this shit. He's wrapped all into one. And you stupid Negroes can't see through it. We need TYT. I mean, good night. Y'all couldn't update the... We need TYT. Applejack, you're so dumb. You're so dumb. Meccan, you're so dumb. What is it? Me can chat to me? I am butchering this woman's name, bro. But, like, we're just dumb. Us black people, we're dumb. And we need TYT. Look at Anna. Anna's like, I don't know if you're supposed to say that shit, bro. We continue.
Having this guy serve me, and all he does is kiss my ass. Oh my God, Trump will probably love that. Meanwhile, no one hears from the actual people in this country.
Ridiculous. Cenk is so ridiculous. First of all, which president wants a vice president to overshadow him in the first place?
Yeah.
He's making it sound like Trump is like some unique person. Look, man, you got football teams that can't say it. You Bill Belichick let Tom Brady go because Bill Belichick's like, yo, I'm the president. You're not supposed to be getting all this over me. So this is just normal. If you're running for president, you're already a massive egomaniac in the first fucking place. You should be atop the world's most powerful country in history. You're already an egomaniac. The way these people act as if Trump is like some singular in his narcissism is crazy to me. Obama was I literally have pictures of Obama doing this. Looking down at everybody.
Oh my gosh.
Shit's crazy, bro. This shit is crazy. Vin, I never even got curious about the right to see what anyone that didn't ID as leftists had to say until the racism of the left jumped out. That's what happened to me too. That's what happened to me too. Once I started seeing all these left-wing racists, bro, I was like, holy shit, these folks are racist as fuck. Holy hell. I had no idea either. And the crazy thing is, neither do they. They really don't. They don't see it. It's crazy to me. All right. I need to see him say to Kanye's face that he's a kind of servile black that Trump likes. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Jeez.
Listen, guys, if you're black and you think that these liberals support you, you're crazy. They look down on you just like the right-wingers look down on you. When we're talking about politicians, we're not talking about priests. We're talking about politicians. All I care about is, what is your fucking policy? Is your policy going to result in my kid getting killed on a highway? And now I got to go and make that right. Now all of us have to go see Allah and he has to settle it. That's one scenario. There's another scenario in which we have a politician that makes it so that that doesn't happen, so that all of us don't have to meet Allah prematurely. Because if one of them folks did something to my kids, all of us are going to see God. I said that to their face.
You did, yeah.
I said it to their face. Well, actually, what I said was, if I see one of these people on you, I promise you I'm not pulling out my phone. That's what I said. But listen, Trump is a horrible candidate, man. And I cannot bring myself to vote for that dude. Me personally, January 6th is not something I'm ever going to get over. For me, I was not born in this country, but I am 100% through and through America. I believe in it. I love it. And what happened on January 6th hurt me because the bloodless transfer of power if you look at history, that's a precious thing that we have.
That's right.
That's a precious thing that we have. And both of these groups have been unprecedented in their destruction of democracy. What Trump did was fucking crazy, but don't stop there. There was a 4-year program where the other side did worse. So fuck both of these people relative to who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. We're beyond that. For me personally, what I care about is what is the policy?
Mm-hmm.
What is our foreign policy? I heard that Tulsi was one of the finalists. I would love to have Secretary of State Tulsi Gabbard, somebody who's actually been to war, instead of Hillary, who gave us the Arab Spring. So for me, I can't bring myself to vote for dude. But this exercise is very important, particularly for black people. You now got to see the mindset of the liberal. This is their mindset. They do not respect you.
Was that supposed to be like reverse psychology? So then you're like, oh, if I follow Trump, then and that means I'm like a servant, so I don't want to be like a servant slave, so I shouldn't follow him.
Yeah.
So then he's saying what Biden said.
Of course.
If you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
100%. That's exactly right. And that's the reason why TYT didn't go after him when he said that shit. Because that's how they think. They really believe that.
Jeez.
I agree with the simping for Israel stuff with Tulsi. That's a standard right-wing, stuff. But I agree with you. I think that's bullshit. I would never vote for a president for that. Shout out to Kai. This is really terrible. So that's my take on it. I'm not a fan of Trump, but I saved all my invective for Trump at the end. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to give anything at the beginning or anything in the middle or whatever, because I wanted to stay on point. And I hate when people say, well, Trump is bad too. No, I'm not doing that. This is the subject matter. This was the story. Okay. The one thing I will agree with Knock is that your vote matters. We got to use it. I don't know. Vin, what did I say back in 2010? Stop voting, get out in the streets, and take back your country. Nothing will change within this. Yes. I never took Cornel West seriously anyway. And the reason I never took Cornel West seriously was because when he announced his campaign, nobody attacked him. So I said, okay, then he has no choice. He has no chance. Okay. I think Vivek as VP and Tulsi as Secretary of State would be good. Oh!
I sent it to you.
We've got the clip. Is this the clip right here?
Well, I sent it through text.
All right, here we go.
A Manhattan jury found that you sexually abused the writer E. Jean Carroll and defamed her. You've denied this. But what do you say to voters who say it disqualifies you from being president?
Well, there aren't too many of them because my poll numbers just came out and they went up. Okay.
That's so terrible. That's so terrible. Like, we're talking about sexual assault, and he's like, well, my poll numbers are up.
Oh, shit.
I don't know if he did this or not, guys. I don't know. None of us were there, but I don't like that attitude. We continue.
The judge wouldn't allow us to put that in. Her dog or her cat was named Vagina. The judge wouldn't allow to put that in. All of these things but with her, they can put in anything. Access Hollywood.
Yeah, but what?
Okay, I think she literally had a cat named Vagina.
Babe, I think that you need to pull that back because you were looking at me like I was an idiot for believing that somebody might name their cat that.
Well, Trump. Wait. Trump is saying that she had a cat named Vagina, though.
I heard it was in her book. I don't know.
Okay, he's saying it's fake.
Why you would do that?
DJ's saying it's fake. All right, DJ, are you sure it's fake? It doesn't look fake to me, man.
He's saying it's fake that, like, Trump made it up? Is that what he means? Like, she doesn't really have a cat named that?
Yeah, I agree there. I agree there. What do I care if not one candidate is willing to represent me? Isn't that a politician's job? Exactly. Like, I still think we should vote, but I definitely see where you're coming from. And if you tell us that there's only two parties, Like, Knack, what are you like? What are you saying? Like, what's the solution here? Okay, so why are you saying it's fake? It looks to me like he's complaining that the judge would not allow that to be introduced into court because
why should that get introduced into court?
Because I think he's trying to say this is a very sexual person. Look, she named her pet after a sexual organ, and now she's trying to say that I sexually assaulted her when, I'm pretty sure that that's the argument. I'm pretty sure that that was his argument. Which is horrible.
Yeah. Wait, so wait a minute. The beginning.
Jeez, God almighty. Her cat's full name is apparently Virginia T. Fireball.
Bro. Grow the fuck up, lady. I mean, come on.
Whoa. This is a woman who was sexually assaulted. So we have to be, she claims she was sexually assaulted. So it's funny, but we got to, right? She was assaulted sexually. She was
What
raped.
does that have to do with her cat?
Because Trump is trying to use that as a defense to say this is a very sexual person. Look, it's a horrible defense, but it's a species, in my opinion, of like, what were you wearing type of thing. Look, you call your cat vagina, so you're already a sexually loose person. So that must have meant you wanted to have sex with Trump.
Because she's saying that. Wait, I'm a little bit behind on this one. I didn't know that she's saying that Trump. Wait a minute. She's saying Trump assaulted her?
It is a sexual assault case. She's claiming that Trump sexually assaulted her.
Okay.
There were certain articles of evidence.
No, that shouldn't come into that. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
So the cat is named that. It is funny, but at the same time, we're talking about sexual assault.
Yeah.
Because
Because
want to make sure that you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I misunderstood what was going on, and I didn't even because the thing is, like, Trump, from my vantage point, sometimes brings up stuff that I don't even think he needed to say, or why did you do that, especially in like kind of like making fun of people. So.
Well, Trump was claiming...
to be honest with you, I thought...
He claimed he never met her, but he knows she's a sexual person and she knows her cat's first and last name. Like, that's kind of weird.
But somebody said that it was in her book, but I don't know if that's true. I thought that this Fanny person hired that guy and the two of them were on... I thought that they were trying to discredit Trump, that's what their job was. They were on the opposing side. But
right. She's the DA. She's the state prosecutor in Georgia.
Yep.
But Trump has got numerous cases, right? So this one was a sexual assault case. So this is not that one. There's another one.
Oh, okay. Right. So it's not on record saying that he went after this Fanny lady, or it is? Is she claiming that he did something sexually inappropriate with her or tried to?
No, it's this white lady right here.
Okay.
It's not Fannie Willis.
Oh.
The Trump claim is that she made it up, not that they had a consensual affair. Part of his defense is her social media and books full of outlandish, made-up sexual stuff. Okay. Yeah, I agree, Candy. It definitely brings a new meaning to Pussycat. I mean, what ended up happening? Did he get found guilty of that? Watch her interview with Anderson Cooper and tell me she's not crazy. I have a hard time with that. Because this is a common thing. Woman makes a claim. She's crazy. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not really going to comment much on it because I don't know the details. All I will say is that she did name her cat that, apparently. And that's as far as I'll go. I'm not going to litigate. I'm not going to litigate that situation. Because that's not something... Because she might... Two things can be true at the same time. She can be absolutely crazy and telling the truth.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of times, the incident makes you crazy.
That's what I was thinking.
How do we know, even if we see her as being, quote, batshit crazy, how do we know that she didn't get driven crazy because she was sexually assaulted? I mean, a lot of people locate Chester Bennington's early childhood sexual trauma for the reason he killed himself. He's a grown man and a millionaire and on top of the world. And he still couldn't get over that. So we got to pause. Sexual assault is a major trauma. Mm-hmm. And so I don't want to willy-nilly go and comment on the virtues of the defense or the prosecution on that. I want to handle that shit with the gravity it deserves. These are real people.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before. I went with one of my friends who was being harassed and sexually assaulted at work. and the person that was, they were her higher up, and they knew exactly where the cameras were in the location, and they grabbed a hold of her and forced her onto them. And when we went to the police about it, the police said, well, you essentially assaulted him. I said, come again? He said, well, because he grabbed you and put it onto him, you technically were on him. And I'm like, this can't be real. It was absolutely real, and we had to leave with nothing. And so, I mean, I just know too many stories. Like,
I also know too many stories of dudes being falsely accused, dying, losing their jobs, all types of shit. And so that is also serious. Go Google Rosewood. So,
I mean, Kavanaugh, that happened to him.
I don't know that happened to Kavanaugh.
I thought it came out that was that
two of the women who made the claim admitted that they lied and that they did it for political reasons, but that does not mean that the original accuser didn't do it. Right? That's the problem. Like, if you find holes in a story, cool, that doesn't necessarily mean it happened. On the other side, we could be having a guy in Trump who is being dragged and accused of sexual assault when he was completely innocent. That could also be true. So that's one of the reasons why, like, unless we're looking at it, and I've done the hours of research and I can give you like I don't want to talk about that because, like, I don't want to willy-nilly just throw that out there and we could be, casting aspersions on an innocent man or dismissing the trauma of a surviving woman. And so that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
Can you defame someone who's defaming you? I mean, yeah. All right, guys. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you so much for the participation. A lot of new heads I haven't seen. Mech, thank you so much for coming through. Ian, I will check my phone. Thank you very much. Much love to all you beautiful people. Thank you guys for the participation. We are back. It looks like we were a little chippy at the beginning, but it looks like the stream is fairly decent. I'm not really a fan of 720 when we can get up to 4K, but we're working. So Trump has not been found guilty of assaulting her in court. Being found responsible for defamation of a person in a civil trial is not the same thing at all. No, that's a completely different universe, in my opinion. And I also agree the burden of truth in a civil trial is lower than in a criminal trial. I agree. For sure. We're going to do a video for Aaron. Aaron who? Aaron Rodgers? Did Aaron Rodgers do something? Guys, I'm not going to make any promises. Not going to make any promises, but we're going to be pretty regular, I think, on this. What do you guys think? I think it'll be good. Facebook.com/America Middle. You can catch me in the Messenger, Vin and Sori, vinandsori@gmail.com. If you have ideas about shows you want to talk about.
Oh my God, Ranter Matt.
You could do the dude, the self-immolation guy, the guy that set himself on fire. Yeah, I purposely didn't look at that story. So I don't know. I don't know yet. I might, because everybody's talking about it, so I might do it.
Somebody real quick, just tell me why he did it. Put that in there, please.
Gaza. So he set himself on fire because he was protesting what's happening to the Gazans.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did he die?
Yeah. Pretty sure he died.
I mean,
that could go really deep.
Yeah.
In 70 AD, there's a guy named Jesus who's walking around saying that the whole city was cursed. And then he died, and then that was the end of it. He did a video before he did it. Yeah. I don't know. He survived? Okay, thank God. Okay, well then maybe I could do it. What, Keemstar blocked you for covering it?
Well, I don't know, Doug. I mean,
he clearly had a mental health problem.
Maybe he did. I'm not saying that he didn't. But, when you stop and think about what's happening to these kids over there, it really starts messing with your head. Tonight, we were out and there was a fence.
He died.
There was a fence where we were. And I was on one side of the fence and one of my kids is on the other side of the fence. And he put his little hands, it was Senny. He's just over a year old, he's walking around, put his little hands on the fence and he was looking at me. And I thought, oh my God, I thought about the kids in cages. I thought about the kids in Gaza. I thought about the kids that are trapped under rubble. Like in that moment, I saw all of those things and I just felt so powerless to help these people. I pray. I'm definitely a praying person. I pray about the situation, but it does feel like you're not doing enough. Then I think, well, Vinny speaks out against it a lot, and I try to put posts up too, like, but it just doesn't feel like enough. Like, and I think that if you thought about it enough, like, and you wanted to make a big stir, like, yeah, maybe the guy is really crazy, or maybe he's echoing what our response should be. Like, shouldn't it make us crazy to know that this is happening to these kids, that if it was our own, we would be crazy? I don't know, bro. It just seems like we're real quick to overlook other people's suffering, and we can just go on with our day. I mean, you may not feel like praying is something that's actually effective or something that actually is doing something, but it is. It does do something. So, I mean, I don't know what can be said of people that don't pray, that don't really speak out against it and whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, you're at a different place. But maybe this guy saw what we should be seeing. Maybe he was feeling more than we should. Maybe he was feeling more correctly than we do. I don't know. Maybe he was crazy. I'm not saying he wasn't crazy. Because, I mean, obviously, lighting yourself on fire is not the solution. But
I don't know if it's not the
solution. I don't
solution.
know if that doesn't start a stir. And
look, here's the thing. I am not sure that a modern person in the Western world is not already a traumatized person. There are no studies that look into the cumulative effect of our current ability to see all human suffering simultaneously. We were never designed for that.
That's a God quality.
There's only one being in the universe that can handle that, and he barely could handle it. He had to come down here and die to address it. So even God himself can barely handle human suffering. So all of us psychologically have seen people really, truly die. There are millions and billions of people who went throughout their life and haven't witnessed a person murdered. So when I hear the guy clearly had mental issues, there's a part of me that says, well, yeah, he's in the Western world. He's seeing this shit. But I don't know about you guys. Seeing a dad pull out his daughter and like hit her, tell her to breathe, to wake up. He's going to ground her if she doesn't wake up. I got this one poem from this Palestinian dude. They translated it. And it said, "O children of Gaza." And in the poem, the guy says, "Please come and play around my house like you used to when I would yell at you to get off my yard." And he said, "Please come back and play. And if you do, I won't yell at you this time." We supposed to keep seeing that and not go crazy? I'm supposed to look at an IDF soldier on TikTok laughing about that shit? And then the Israeli cabinet talking about our goal is not to protect human life, but to send a message. And I'm sitting here on a basketball court with my kids laughing around, running and jumping, having fun. Everybody's fine. Everybody's healthy. Nobody thinks a bomb's going to come anywhere. No, we're fucking crazy. We're crazy. How the fuck is this happening to people all over the world? And our country is complicit and we're just going around like nothing's fucking going on?
Yeah.
Nah, all of us are crazy. We're the crazy ones. We're crazy. I don't know that guy where he's from. Like, I don't know what was going on with him. But we're having the conversation. I read that poem, and this has just been so hard to bear from thousands of miles away. Can't imagine what I'd do if they sent me papers asking me to hurt these people with my own hand. Yeah, DJ, you have. You have. DJ's one of these guys, he's going to say some right-wing shit, blah, 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 but he's got a heart like you would not believe. DJ's one of the reasons why I keep telling people, like, just because somebody's just because they say something offensive or whatever, the dude's got a heart of gold, man. Because everybody expresses the shit a little bit differently, but the dude's got a heart of gold. But I hope, that guy finds some peace wherever he's at. There's a lot of dude. You might know about this, DJ, but Mike Day, man, legendary Navy SEAL Mike Day, he got hit 27 times. Dude got hit 27 times. And
he survived.
Woke up in the room. There were 6. This was in his citation for his Silver Star. There were 6 women and children. So he got shot. He got hit up 27 times. He's out. He wakes up. There's 6 women and children in the room along with the terrorists. He gets his buddy.
They're in danger too?
Who?
The women and children over there?
Well, the guys were in a stack. So they're about to come into the house, right? He's on the ground, hit 27 times. So they think he's dead. The bad guys think he's dead. So the bad guys are shooting through the window. Like, they're standing over him and shooting through the window.
Shit.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So when he got up, the first guy from the stack rounded the corner. And this dude who got hit 27 times said, yo, get them kids over there. And got up and murked everybody else in the room. He killed all them dudes after he got hit 27 times.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Crazy story. Dude killed himself last year.
Damn.
Survived all that shit and killed himself last year.
Wow.
The price,
I'm
not going to say to defend our country. The price that everybody pays for expanding this empire is unconscionable. And I can't sit there and feel sorry for us about it because we inflicted that on other people and it's our just desserts. Whatever bad nights or bad dreams that we have, those are just dreams though. You see what I'm saying? They're just dreams. I wake up, I got all my people. People that I love the most in the world, they're all here, they're all healthy, they're all happy. So, everybody who's been through those situations has to figure out ways to reconcile themselves to themselves. But I don't think that dude was crazy, man. I think we're all crazy. I think we're all crazy. I think the way that we can just go through day-to-day life knowing that our country is participating in this shit is crazy. And I don't know what the fucking solution is, guys, because at the end of the day, you got to live.
That's why I always feel like that one of the main solutions is the prayers that we pray about it, because you're doing something in a spiritual, supernatural realm, and we don't know the effects of it, nor do we know the power of the beings that are sent out on behalf of our prayers, and we don't know what comes of that.
Mm-hmm.
But when I lay it out on the line, I'm like, I'm not going to get a gun and go over there. I'm not doing that. My kids, I'm staying with my kids. I wish that, that would stop over there. Then I'm going to pray about it. Do I feel like I do enough? Not nearly enough. No, I don't feel that at all. But I am very glad that I am fighting somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I am praying for these babies and these parents, and oh my God.
Yeah. The reason why I said he had a mental health problem is because if you actually look at the story, you may understand some of the things he's been talking about outside the Gaza situation. Yeah, I mean, that's why I brought up the Mike Day situation where Mike killed himself. I mean, it's a lot of guys in the military killing themselves. I don't know what the number is, like literally every day, right? And so if it wasn't for the Gaza situation, would the guy have probably done it anyway? Probably, but he wouldn't have done it in such a dramatic fashion. Sometimes when people are suicidal, they will jump onto a a cause or whatever to give their life meaning. It's a logic with a lot of suicide bombers over in the Middle East, that type of thing.
Their life and their death meaning.
Yeah. I agree though, Wolves. The solution is Jesus, man. That's all I got. It's all I got.
100%.
It's all I got for the world, man. Because this shit right here. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We're a team, just keep breathing, but you got to have empathy for people that can't. And, you know, that's the balance of like being thankful and grateful that you're blessed and your kids are blessed and healthy. And at the same time, like, my kids don't deserve more safety and health than anybody else's kids. And if my kids was over there, I'd be over there.
Oh, me too.
Nothing would stop me. So I'm over here with them. So anyway, guys, the 20 fucking one a day.
And you know what? The other thing too that I think about is that with every situation that happens that's bad, like it changes you as a person. And so like you're having an entire group of people that are being continually saddened by the death of their family members. Like, and they're all in the same area. Like sometimes you see like a photo where they're trying to like, you know, raise money for what's going on over there. And there's like the main person in the photo, but I always look at the people in the back and like, I just look at like how broken or discouraged they look. And I'm like, I wonder what that person's story was and that person's story and that person. It's just...
Later, Delaney, I will, Ana Natrani, Mas. Let's read this and then get out of here. Everything that happens to me feels so inconsequential compared to what's happening in Gaza that it makes me feel bad that I'm sad about things happening in my life. Well, Delaney, there's a passage in the Psalms, and it says that God will command his angels concerning you so that you do not dash your foot against a stone. And the translation would be, God sends mighty angels to protect you. And God says to the angel, hey, before you go, Delaney is going to step on a Lego. And I don't want her to step on a Lego. So you're going to have to find a way to move that girl away from the Lego so she doesn't step on it. Okay, that's what the scripture says. Which tells me that God cares about the stub toe. Otherwise, he wouldn't deploy an angel to protect you from the Lego. Right? Okay. So that's one plank. The second plank is suffering happens, and an amputation of a foot is a worse scenario than a stepping on a Lego. But if you see somebody step on a Lego, you would never say, hey, stop complaining. That doesn't really hurt. There's people that don't have feet. You wouldn't say that. You'd say, well, that sucks stepping on a Lego, bro. I know how that should feel. So this happens a lot where people look at the major suffering of other people, then they look at their suffering and invalidate it. And what I'm saying, that God is big enough to take care of the stub toe, the amputated foot, and the widowed woman. God is big enough to empathize with all of them at all those levels. So you should not feel bad. I know there's some personal shit happening in your life, and the shit you're dealing with is difficult, Delaney. Mm-hmm. It's difficult. And the way you're handling it is also difficult. You're doing great. So compared to what the kids in Gaza are dealing with, sure, it's a Lego. But God sends angels to protect people from Legos. Now, there are other questions that gives birth to, and we'll answer those questions at another time. But what I'll say to you is that do not diminish the pain you're going through. Jesus died for that too, just like he died for them kids in Gaza. And he doesn't do that. He doesn't say, stop complaining, stop bitching, blah, blah, blah. Stop. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
But I think the other thing too is, part of the reason why we have pain in our bodies when we touch something is because that means healing is supposed to come to that spot. And like people that don't feel, they actually have trouble with their bodies healing because the white blood cells don't rush to that area.
Yeah.
And you have internal pain that's going on. And for you to ignore that, as you get older, this is going to sound weird, but your own self becomes either a friend or an enemy of you. So if you're diminishing your pain and saying that's not a big deal because of Gaza, then you almost become a person that you can't trust within yourself because you've discredited your own pain. And so you can't even sometimes really feel like, okay, what do I really actually feel in this situation? Because you've spent so much time diminishing it and just looking at whatever other people have going on. It's important to take care of yourself and to recognize that the pain that you're feeling, you have to feel that, and then it's going to help you in your process of healing. But yeah, certainly don't discredit the pain you're feeling and saying that's meaningless because other people are suffering more. Your pain is significant, and your pain is God is going to show you something in your pain that you wouldn't otherwise have known. I know that pain is difficult, and the type of pain that you're experiencing is serious.
And to be honest with you, Delaney, little sis, you won't be able to help any of your friends, right? Because then you wouldn't treat your friends like that. You would say, hey, people are dying in Gaza.
Get over
Stop bitching, right?
Yeah.
So I know you. I know your heart. I know what you're saying. All I'm saying is don't trivialize your pain. This shit is real. The shit you're going through is real. You shouldn't have to deal with it. And we're rooting for you over here. But yeah, don't minimize your pain, man. The shit you're going through is bullshit. It sucks. It shouldn't happen. But you're strong, and you are a particularly loved individual. You're going to be good. I promise you're going to be good. All right. We love you, people. We're coming back. We're going to make this more regular. I'm going to ice my elbow.
I was just going to say I'm going to go help his elbow.
This girl is ruining my life.
Well, I forget that you're broken. I was just trying to be flirty. Boop, boop.
Yeah. I mean... Did
that hurt right then, too?
I mean, I married you, so not really sure what the flirting's about, but...
For fun.
Maybe that's how we keep it current. Love your neighbor.
Take care of each other.
Middle America.
We are the media.
Till next time, guys.
Oops. Didn't I?
You have to hit it twice. I forgot the button.